Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's Doctor Who action figure review, I'll be looking at the newly released Reconnaissance Dalek from Resolution with Dalek Mutant accessory, the first figure to be released part of the Jodie Whittaker era line of figures. I believe the rest of the wave of figures are going to be out on the 13th of March. I think that's what it says on the Forbidden Planet website. So Graham, the 13th Doctor, and the Jadoon Captain, I believe they're going to be out next week. But the Dalek has materialised early, which is very exciting because I believe that this is probably the most anticipated figure of the lot, and here it is. So the way this video is going to work is we're going to look at the packaging for this figure, then we'll do articulation detail, and then we'll do a comparison to other Dalek figures, and then do my concluding thoughts on this figure itself. So without further ado, let's look at the packaging. So taking a look at the packaging for the Recon Dalek, so we have this nice sort of style guide packaging, what was first seen on the B&M figures last year. So we've got the Doctor Who logo there, 5+, and there's nice Gallifreyan text, which is very much like the 13th Doctor's TARDIS console room. We've got this nice sort of etched TARDIS design, then this nice window box displaying the figure there, so you can get a nice view of the product and the accessory of the Dalek Mutant, so you can check for quality control with Dalek Mutant accessory, what the product is, character options. On the side we have this nice sort of TARDIS etched design as well, so you get to see how thick the packaging is for this. So moving to the back, again we have this nice little blue and silver motif, again action figures there, the other figures in the line like the TARDIS, 13th Doctor variants there, Graham, Jadoon and the Recon Dalek and the Sonic Screwdriver, which is all very exciting. And then a bit of legal guff there. And that's essentially your packaging for the Recon Dalek. So let's open it up and let's have a closer look at the product itself. So taking a look at the articulation for the Scrapyard Dalek, I mean Recon Dalek, that's its correct term, or Reconnaissance Dalek if you want to be pedantic. So if the articulation is basically the dome doesn't move, but instead the neck section moves, well, has a full 360-degree turn. The eye stalk can go up and down. We have the classic ball joint sort of attachment section, so the claw arm can do a full 360-degree turn, and of course the gun can do a full 360-degree turn. Now one thing what is super cool about this Dalek figure is that it has midsection rotation, so the midsection moves, which is incredibly cool. A thing what I didn't expect this figure to have, and to be honest I never expected this figure to be made, but we actually have midsection rotation, which is just allows it to have a bit more articulation. I believe that this is probably the most articulated Dalek figure in the character options line. Obviously the special weapons Dalek had midsection rotation, and having the midsection articulation really just brings this figure even more to life, just gives it a bit more variety in displaying options, which is really cool. And I really like that touch to the actual figure, because that was quite a prominent thing in the episode with the Dalek destroying the whole military brigade, you know, destroying the tank and everything. And the Dalek does move on its wheels, so we can have it just patrolling around doing its Recon Dalek business. So moving on to detail for the Reconnaissance Dalek, so if we start off with the dome. Now the dome is done really well. I've got to say the actual colour scheme for this Dalek has been beautifully recreated, because we've got this sort of nice dark bronze look to it, but as you can see we've got this nice sort of lighter sort of almost orange sort of speckled effect all around the Dalek to give that more of a rusting look to it. But also you can get glimpses of silver to show that the sort of the original colour of the metal, where it hasn't gone rusty. Not the Dalek featured in the Peter Capaldi era, but this is just a rusty Dalek. We've got the nice sort of detailing of the dome there, where it all sort of splinters off with a nice sort of sectioned detail, which is all very cool. As you can see, we've got a sort of a nice sort of black wash there. It's just really nice sort of attention to detail, really showing that this has got a lot of depth to the metal. It just makes it look even more lifelike. The dome lights are done incredibly well. We've got a nice sort of ridged glass effect there. We've got a nice sort of orange tinge there to show that it's sort of a worn out sort of casing, which is done really cool. Again, really nice attention to detail. We've got the nice sort of strands where the eye stalk gear would move to show that it is moving up, which is really nice to see. Really nice attention to detail, and I just really like the sort of paint apps on this Dalek. You really get a sense of depth with all the sort of different shades of bronze with a nice sort of silver wash to show the original colour of the metal, which is all very cool. Moving down to the eye itself, we've got a nice sort of section detailing all around, and of course we've got the classic new series blue iris, which is all very cool. And also because the eye the claw and the gun in this sort of more of a dark sort of grey sort of silver colour really does help pop on the figure with the sort of nice rusty colour scheme. Again, on the dome we've got this nice sort of ridged effect going all across the dome. The neck bin section, again we've got the nice sort of sections of metal continuing that nice sort of rusty metal look, which is done really cool. And again, if you catch it in the light, you can see the sort of red glow if the Dalek was speaking, which is really cool. Attention to detail from character options, you can see it there in the light, which is done really nice. It really does sort of make the figure pop when you get it in the sort of bright light. So we move down to the midsection. Again, this continues, and I think this is the best example of the sort of silver wash on the actual Dalek, because you can see all the different paneling on the slat, you know, with the nuts and bolts there, which is done really cool. The nice sort of design and patterning, as you can see, mine's got a little bit of quality control. I'm not sure if it's quality control or just an actual thing on the actual prop. We've got a sort of crack there, but I actually don't mind it because it gives the Dalek a little bit more character. Again, continue that rusty effect there, but also you get a nice sort of silver wash to show the original colouring of the metal. It's just done really nice. When you catch in the light, it does look absolutely stunning, and I absolutely love it. It is really great. So again, we've got a nice sort of panelling there, which we'll move on to when we talk about the Dalek Mutant. The claw is done rather nice, this nice sort of pokey little claw, which I thought they would just use the sort of Crucible Dalek claw, but no, this is a completely new sculpt, because this Dalek is practically all new sculpt. I think actually, I do believe that it probably uses like the classic Dalek sort of fender. I thought this would be like the original chunky Dalek sculpt, but it isn't when you compare it. It is different, but when we move on to that, when we go on to the comparison, the sort of weapons area, you got the nice sort of bolt section there to really highlight the section there, and that's continued on the gun. The gun's done really nice with a sort of nice sort of rocket tip sort of gun, which is done really nice. Again, the nice sort of paint taps along the Dalek with a nice sort of a silver wash to really highlight the detail. Then we move on to the skirt of the Dalek. We've got the different sized hemispheres, which I guess have all the rockets in. I mean, that is one thing the Dalek would be pretty cool if I had, like, you press the hemisphere and a rocket fired out. That would have been a nice little touch, but again, that would probably have put the cost up. But again, we continue that nice sort of silver rusty detail, and you really get to see how much attention to detail character options have paid to creating this Dalek, because obviously we have the different sized hemispheres, and it's just a really nice little attention to detail that character options have gone and to all this effort to try and recreate this Dalek to the best of their abilities. And again, you get the nice sort of rusty look there with all the different coppers and rusty brown sort of colour, which is done rather nice. And then we've got the nice sort of fender section there with a sort of two skirt pieces, which is done very nice. And then on the bottom we've got the original brown sculpted plastic before the paint was applied. So the detail for this figure is absolutely brilliant. The paint apps are superb, and it just looks incredibly lifelike, and you can just really picture, it just looks like what it does in the episode. So if you have a look at the Dalek Mutant feature, and then we do a comparison on the Dalek itself. So here we have the Dalek Mutant, the little squid, which is really cool, really nice little attention to detail for character options to include this. Now, I don't feel like the photos online do this justice, because I thought like the green and blues made it look a little bit odd. But having it in person, it doesn't look as vibrant. I feel like this is a great recreation of the Dalek Mutant. Obviously, the Dalek Mutant in resolution was a lot bigger, but obviously they've cut it down to size to make it look a bit more in keeping, so it could fit inside the Dalek, which we'll talk about in a minute. But the detail for this is fantastic. You've really got the nice sort of different brain section, especially on the back. You really get to see the sort of brain detail, which is really good attention to detail by character options. I can't praise them enough with the recreation of this Dalek Mutant. You know, this sort of different strands, you really get to see the sort of detailing, the sectioning of the tentacles. Really great. Sort of the different paint apps really make it stand out instead of being just this solid piece of grey plastic. And it's quite rubbery. I thought it'd be quite a rigid piece of plastic, but it is very rubbery, so I guess it makes it a little bit more flexible if you want to put it in the Dalek casing. But again, just look at that, it is really well detailed with sort of the bulbous sort of brain and everything. It just looks really great, all the lumps and everything. It's just really cool. I can see that kids are going to absolutely love this little thing. So to put the Dalek Mutant in the Dalek, we have this little section here. If we just flap that down, ta-da, then like so. You can place the mutant in. You can place the mutant all in, but it is a bit of a struggle to get it back out. But you can force it in there, but I'm not going to, because it's a little bit fiddly to try and get the Dalek out, but you get the gist of what it would look like. So it's really nice to have that feature, and it gives this figure even more playability. So yeah, this is a real standout and a real nice touch for character options, to including this accessory to make this figure even more desirable. I mean, it's already desirable because it's a Dalek, but to have a Dalek mutant, it just makes it even more exciting. Just look at that. Ooh, Dalek mutant. So here we have a comparison to some various other Daleks that have been released. Obviously we've got a classic Dalek. It's a little bit taller than your standard classic Dalek. And then we've got the bronze Dalek. And then we've got the Paradigm Dalek. So it's roughly the same size as a new series, sort of bronze Russell T Davies era Dalek, which is all very cool. And you really get to see the difference in sort of the bronze colour. You get to see how sort of dark, sort of rusty colour this Dalek is, and just see how weird and bizarre this Dalek is. I mean, it looks all fine on its own, but when you compare it to put it in line with other Daleks, it does look a bit of an oddity, and I really like it. I really like it because it just shows how bizarre this Dalek is, and you really get to see how much work character options have done by sort of resculpting everything to get this Dalek made. It is really, really cool. So I'm going to do one more comparison, and that is with the original Dalek mutant reveal, so we can have a closer look at that. So here we have the Dalek mutant reveal. Now I thought they would just use the original sort of Dalek sculpt they did way back in 2005, but no, it is different midsection. I thought they would just use the same skirt piece, but no, it is different. Now this Dalek is one of my favourite Dalek figures character options I've ever done because of this. The mutant reveal, how very exciting. That is just really cool. And this is obviously the 2020 edition in the form of the Recon Dalek. You know, having that mutant reveal just makes the figure have more playability. It is just really cool, and you get to see how far character options have advanced with their sort of technique of making Doctor Who figures. And like I said, you know, I thought they would just use the Crucible Dalek arm, but no, it is different because I believe that this Dalek is a completely new sculpt in every way, I believe, even though I do feel like this sort of fender sort of section does remind me of what you'd see on sort of the classic Daleks in a way. It does seem to be sort of reminiscent of like the Dalek you'd see from the Forbidden Planet exclusive set way back in like 2011. But yeah, I believe that this Dalek is entirely new sculpting, and it definitely shows when you compare it to the other Dalek. So let's go into my concluding thoughts on this figure itself. So what are my concluding thoughts on the Reconnaissance Dalek from Resolution? Well, I absolutely love this figure. It is definitely one of my favourite figures character options have done in a long time. Now obviously over the past few years we've seen repaints and slightly tweaked new head sculpts and everything, but character options have really thrown everything at this Dalek figure. It's a figure I just didn't expect character options to do. I just thought it was way out of character options budget to do, but here we are. Here we have the Recon Dalek, and isn't it just marvellous? You know, the attention to detail with it, just the faithfully recreating this Dalek. You know, the articulation is superb. You know, just I feel like this is the most articulated Dalek. The sort of midsection rotation is a thing I've wanted on a Dalek figure for ages. I know the Special Weapons Dalek had it, but I always wanted like a traditional Dalek to have it. You know, ever since I saw a Dalek have a sort of midsection rotation in Dalek when he was killing all Van Statten's men, you know, I thought, wouldn't that be really cool? And over 12-inch Daleks had it to an extent, and I used to use the Dalek bubble bath because it had the sort of midsection rotation. But obviously this has it, and it just, I love it. I just can't stop sort of, you know, posing this Dalek. It's just an absolutely brilliant Dalek. It is just amazing. I feel like this is one of the best, if not the best, Dalek figures. You know, I'm a big fan of the mutant reveal thing because obviously it takes me back to when I was a kid because it was my favourite Dalek figure, and to have that, it's just, I love it. I feel like this is one of the greatest figures character options have produced in a long time. I feel like the last great character options figure probably was the War Doctor. I would say, arguably you could say the Night of the Doctor, 8th Doctor, but again that suffers from heavy paint apps where you lose the detailing on the face, whereas the War Doctor just has that sharp, crisp detailing and the likeness is superb. But I feel like this is sort of character options back on form, this really does show that character options are still capable of creating great Doctor Who figures. You know, and hopefully if these figures sell incredibly well, we can get more of an interesting character. We can get, you know, maybe the new Cybermen, the new Warrior Cybermen. We can get Sacha Dhawan's Master. That would be really cool. You know, it'd be great to sort of fill out the Jodie Whittaker era on the figure shelf. You know, the paint detailing is absolutely superb. You know, character options have really recreated this Dalek superbly with all the different texturing of the metal, you know, that sort of rusting effect with all the different sort of bronze and coppering effect to show the rusting of the metal, that silver wash to really highlight the detail. It is just an absolutely brilliant figure, and I just can't get over how much I love it. I just absolutely love it. The detailing is superb, you know, from the little attention to detail on the claw. It is just absolutely brilliant with the sort of little detailing of the claw there. It is just superb. I absolutely love it, and it looks great alongside you know, Jodie Whittaker, and obviously you can now do scene recreations when she first encounters the Dalek. I cannot wait to add more sort of 13th Doctor era monsters to the collection and have a little 13th Doctor sort of figure display. It is brilliant, and I highly recommend the Recon Dalek. It is a really nice addition to anyone's Doctor Who collection. It is a superb figure, and definitely one of the best, if not the best, Dalek figures character options have ever done. I know that sounds like a bold statement, but I absolutely love it. You know, I think the only way you could possibly improve it is obviously have like a missile fire out the hemisphere. That would be a bit extensive, but that would be really cool. But it does have a lot of playability. I can see a lot of kids will enjoy this because obviously it just has a lot of movement. It has a lot of playability, of course, with the Dalek mutant reveal. It is just a brilliant figure. I just can't get over how much I love it. So yeah, that concludes this review. It's incredibly positive, and I just can't get over how brilliant it is. So that is my review of the Reconnaissance Dalek from Resolution. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.